Going to green, and we're going to start with the commons again, starting with cheap stuff. A card I'm excited to talk about, Gene Pollinator, is a single green mana for a 1/2 artifact creature. It's got the ability tap and untap permanent you control, add 1 mana of any color. I gotta tell you, Gene, he's looking good. He's seen what his predecessors have done, and he goes, I'll one-up you here. I'll do you a little bit better. Because we've had these kind of cards before. These like 1 mana, you gotta tap a thing to make a mana of any color. This taps other lands? Or sorry, just like lands? Like that's pretty cool. It taps lander tokens. You want things to be tapped in this set. Lots of good things to say about this card.
Can tap your auras or your like spacecraft that haven't been crewed yet.
Yeah.
It taps it, and it can tap your want them to tap for the red-white stuff. I talked about, potentially splashing Sammy with this card.
Oh, yeah, that's sweet.
It's got types. I mean, it doesn't have reach, so it's not all upside compared to just Bar Sentinel or whatever, but it's got types too, including both artifact and insect for a single card in the format.
Oh, yeah, there's the lane, Swarm Yard. That's cute. But yeah, I think we both gave this a pretty high grade.
Yeah, we both gave it a B-, and if you can get multiples of these, even the first one, you can most likely just cut lands for them as long as you keep your green count high enough.
Yes, I think we should probably take a second just to talk this out quickly. Basically, the idea with this kind of card, we've seen a lot in the past. Heavy green count, you're a base green deck, you want to have your 9-10 forests still, but let's say you have three of these things, and you also want to have enough other cheap permanents to be able to tap to them. You can go to 15 lands very comfortably, 14 maybe, but 15 quite comfortably, and just make sure you've got enough green sources. That's kind of the idea there. Next up, we've got Mtstrider's Gear. Another 1-drop that is kind of on the other side of things. Not great. Single green mana for an artifact equipment. When it enters, attach it to target creature you control. The equipped creature gets +2/+1 and has reach. And the equip cost is 5. Very, very steep.
Yeah, who is this for?
Mono green aggro? Landfall something? Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. This is gonna be a last pick in a lot of packs.
Yeah, D- for me, D from you.
Yep. All right, we got Sammy's Curiosity up next. Single green mana for a sorcery. You gain 2 life and you make a lander token.
I do think you want to be caring about the lander. Like, it's not just... I wouldn't put this in every green. Not
every green deck? You mean like as far as like... You don't have to specifically care about like the lander token for like you're just saying you could either want to care about landfall or ramp or colors or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure. I agree. Yeah, I agree. But I think it's pretty good in those decks. Like, if you care about those things, it's like a ramp spell that gains you some life, and you do it in increments, and it gives you a permanent, and I don't know. I think this is a nice card for those decks.
Yep, with you all the way. I have the same grade as you too. We both gave it a C-.
Yeah. Even just this, like, going Gene Pollinator into this on some turn, like, that's kind of nice. Play 2-drop. Yeah, still play 2-drop.
You can even crack it.
Or crack it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't do that much, but no, it does. Sometimes you will. Biosynthetic.
Oh, no, you can't crack it because it's a tap cost.
Oh, so that's right. That's right. It's a tap cost. Duh. Biosynthetic Burst, 1 and a green for an instant. This is a nice trick. This is like the best trick we've seen. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then it gains reach, trample, and indestructible until on a turn, and untap it, by the way.
So, Gaia's Gift, but swapped out Hexproof for untap, right?
Yes, that's the mod here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. Looks good. I mean, can't talk this one down too much. It is a good combat trick. I think most green decks are going to be happy playing a copy.
This is the secret to green-white, I assume?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, get as many of these as you can get.
Although, again, indestructible, but no hexproof, so the grav kill or whatever will still get it.
Yeah.
I gave it a C. You gave it a C+.
Yep. Blooming Stinger is a 1 and a green 2/2 Death Touch. When it enters, another creature gets Death Touch.
Yeah, D+ from both of us. Not too exciting.
Yeah, very vanilla. Intrepid Tenderfoot is a 1 and a green 2/2 that you can pay 3 mana to put a counter on it, but only as a sorcery. And it's an insect, once again, for that Swarm Yard, that land.
There's a lot of insects.
Yeah, yeah.
I gave Swarmyard a fairly high grade when we... Yeah. Tenderfoot itself, though, mostly unexciting. I think it's another green-white card where you need the counters to really be worth a spot in your deck. We both gave it a C-.
Yep. Kind of fine filler, too. All right, this is the most newsworthy, controversial, like hubbub card in the set because generating a lot of discussion. So let's air out what's actually going on here with diplomatic relations. So this is 2 and a green for an instant, and the whole thing here is this card is misprinted. I'm gonna read out the printed text, then I'll talk about the errata. It says target creature gets +1/+0 and gains vigilance until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Now, seems like your standard affair, except when you look a bit closer, it does not say target creature you control gets +1/+0 and all those things and deals its damage. So as printed, you could be like, oh, I don't have any creatures. The opponent has 2. I can say your creature deals damage to that other creature. And that's very out of green's color pie. Green needs its own creatures to do the fighting or the biting. As printed, or as the, sorry, not as printed, but as the fix, you're going to see this on Arena, it does say target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains vigilance. So still a good card, not quite as good, but a good green removal spell. +1/+0 and vigilance and biting, like instant speed, all that stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned that they needed 2. They only needed 1 creature to on this under the old templating.
Sorry, this is true. Yeah. They could just. That's the other thing. The creature can deal damage to itself with this old, with the misprint wording here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I actually thought they were going to let this slide. I understand why they did, but my grade on the sheet until this morning when they made the announcement was hovering between B+ and A-. Like, this thing would have been incredibly efficient for a common as printed. With the errata, I bumped it down to a C+. Still going to be quite good. Still kills lots of things. Still gives you that boost in combat. Can kind of be like a 2-for-1 if you're going to, like, to help something trade up and then kill something else.
Mm-hmm.
You gave it a B-. I could...
Sorry, you cut off there at the end. What was that last part?
I said you gave it a B-, and I could see you being right about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just still think that just baseline ability, even though it's not busted, is still pretty good. Galactic Wayfarer up next, 3 mana, 2 and a green for a 3/3. When it enters, you make a lander token. Very solid. I imagine this is going to be one of the better commons. Just nothing to dislike here. These kind of cards, like well statted, to give you a token, are usually pretty good.
Yeah, my vote for best common in the set after the errata, so we both gave it a B.
Yep. Shattered Wings, 2 and a green for a sorcery. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. So L1.
We both gave this sideboard grade. I do think it's probably not the end of the world if you need to main deck.
Yeah, I would advise not doing it. It's also a sorcery, which usually this kind of card is an instant. Yeah, like, I feel like always this comes up, like, should you main deck the green, like, or can you main deck the green thing that destroys an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying, or maybe even just 2 to 3 there. And yeah, like you said, like, you could if you needed it, but it's never good, right? Like, it's never, like, I think it will always decrease your win rate. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, anyways. Next one. Sky Stinger, 2 and a green for a 3/3. It's got reach, and when it blocks a creature with flying, it gets +5/+0. So it blocks the spacecrafts, basically.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
It's a D from both of us.
Yeah, very filler. Thawbringer, 2 and a green for a 4/2. When it enters or dies, surveil 1.
I would prefer Wary Thespian, like the 2 mana 3/1 over the 3 mana 4/2. Would have been really nice to actually get like a really nice 2-drop in green, because both the greens 2 are kind of pretty unexciting. We both gave it a C- as it.
Yeah, just kind of fine. Drix Fatemaker is up next. It's a 3 and a green 3/2. When it enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have trample, And you can warp this for 1 and a green.
I wish this was a 3/3.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they could have done that, right? Like, I guess
I
then
think so.
it's a vanilla 4/4 trampler with some, upside.
Yeah, and a set with this much removal, like I don't think that would have been overpowered or anything.
Yeah, no, I
But
agree.
neither of us believe in this too much as is. We both gave it a D+.
Yep, D plus seems good to me. Ice Cave Crasher is 3 and a green for a 4/4 trampler. It's got a landfall ability. It gets +1/+0 whenever you landfall. Kind of a similar card in some ways. That's the last one we just saw.
Yeah, and both 4-drop. Like if again one of them, the last 3 cards we've seen have all been slightly aggressive, which is just green doesn't have a nice 2-drop to play.
Yeah,
So
yeah, big problem there.
I do think there's that we talked about this in the red-green shell. I think there's like a shell where these green aggressive cards do find a home and they do beat down pretty hard. But as is, not a super exciting card. We both gave it a C-.
Next up is Germinating Worm. 4 and a green for a 5/5. That when it enters, you gain 2 life. And it's got Warp for 2 mana. Yeah, I mean... Sorry, go ahead.
I just thought I like this thing.
Yeah, no, it's solid. This is definitely one where you're just like, okay, if I have the mana, I will warp it. It's not something you need to worry about working its way into like, okay, how do I warp this before I play it on 5? But yeah, I mean, play on 5, like 5/5 gain 2. That's enough value.
And again, warps into like before you have the 5 mana, you can throw a bunch of charge counters on one of your spacecraft.
Sure. Yeah.
We both gave it a C.
Yeah, I can even like warp it in and have it fight or bite something, right? You're like, oh, I need that power and toughness to kill a big thing. That's something maybe you do once in a while. Fungal Colossus is a 7 mana, 6 and a green, 5/5, but it costs X less, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. So generally, 5 mana, 5/5. With a little bit of work, it's like 4 mana. Maybe on a later turn, you get it down to 3. In any case, unexciting.
Yeah, we saw Yavimaya Sojourner in DMU, and that was 4/6, but it was possible to play it on turn 3 and not that hard to play on turn 4. This one, slightly less a believer in, although it is just raw stats for stationing. We both gave it a D+.
Next up, we've got... Ooh, we're going to the uncommons now. So, 1 second here. Yeah, so... Back to cheap stuff, we're going to Edge Rover. Single green mana for a 2/2 artifact creature with reach. When it dies, each player makes a lander token. Very cool card. So, like, 1 mana 2/2 reach, like, that's good, and not even necessarily strict downside. Right? Like, sometimes the lander token will be better for you than it will be for the opponent. Sometimes the opposite is true, but still a nice card.
Yeah, in theory, I mean, you're the one building the deck. You'll know that you have the coming, so you probably have hopefully something to do with it. So yeah, your opponents might get a void trigger that they might not have otherwise, but still, the stats on this are good. It's well-studded body. I'm still going to play it in pretty much every green deck. We both give it a C.
Yep. Next up, we've got Hemosymbic Might. This is a single green mana for a 1/1. When it becomes tapped, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. Interesting card.
Really sweet with Gene Pollinator.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially because that's like an instant speed ability, where a lot of other situations where you would tap this creature are sorcery speed, like with the stations.
Yeah. It plays really well with +1/+1 counters. It stations for 2 basically, because you can tap it, boost something else, and tap the other thing. Attacks reasonably well, like we've seen. There's a Brothers War. I don't remember whatever that was something that was pretty good. So I like this card overall. We both gave it a C+.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It doesn't necessarily look like it has great crossover with a bunch of archetypes, but I think it does. I think it's just like a good card in general. Mtstrider's Resolve is a single green mana aura. It says, enchant creature you control. When this aura enters, enchanted creature fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. And the enchanted creature gets +0/+2 and can't be blocked by more than one creature. Very, very pushed. Really nice fight. Like, fights kind of need to do something more than just fight these days, I feel, to be really good. And this one definitely does. Giving that toughness boost, making it hard to block. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of abilities on a 1-mana card.
Yeah, they fit a lot on here. What do we want to give it?
Mm-hmm. You gave it a B-. I was even higher on a B.
Yeah, nice. Broodguard Elite is up next. X green for a 0/0, but it comes in with X +1/+1 counters on it. And when this creature leaves the battlefield, put its counters on target creature you control. Warp cost, X and a green. Awkward card. Like, the play patterns with this are like, okay, so you warp it in, you get the counters after combat, and like playing it for its non-warp cost is very inefficient. Like 4-mana 2/2. Yeah, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, kind of cool, but I think it's a trap.
It does play kind of nice with the green common that gives your creatures trample. Like, you can kind of just like fireball the opponent in some spots. Yeah, I think we're both fairly low on this. What do we give it?
Both gave it a D+. I could see that being wrong in either direction.
Yeah, I might just be like, you never want to put this in your deck. Could be a little bit better than that. Close Encounter is 1 and a green for an instant. As an initial cost to cast the spell, choose a creature you control, or a warped creature you control in exile. Close Encounter deals damage equal to the power of the chosen creature or card to target creature. Okay, so worth noting, this is not... You can't blow this out, even with the creature on the board. Like, your opponent, they go for removal spell in response, it doesn't matter. Choose is different from target. I know that's weird. That's just the way it works. So, yeah.
Yeah, instant speed, really nice.
Yeah.
I gave this a B-. You gave it a C+.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I think I probably even should bump it up to where you are. Next up is Umidian Terabotonist. The names in this, I did my due diligence for Final Fantasy. I read a lot of the names beforehand. I am realizing now there are a lot of hard to pronounce names in this set. 1 and a green for a 2/3. Insect Druid. Landfall, you gain a life. Yeah, I like this card.
Yeah, the Edge of Eternities spelling bees are always fun.
Especially with all these insects running around.
Totally agree with you. This card is very sweet. It's a nice little way to prolong the game as well. I gave it a C+. You gave it a B-.
Yep. Seedchip Impact is 1 and a green for an instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. If its mana value was 2 or less, you make a land or token. Sideboard?
I bumped this out of sideboard. I initially was sideboard grade. I think this is good enough to play more often than not.
Interesting. Okay.
Just because that, like, most of the things you want to hit are cheaper artifacts and enchantments. And I do think if you're getting the lander out of it, this makes it worth it. So I gave it a C.
I could see it. Yeah, like, I was talking about how I think you don't generally want to main deck these cards, but there is a decent amount of upside. I'm going to keep it in the sideboard still, but yeah, definitely respect it. Larville Scoutlander is 2 and a green for a 3/3 spacecraft. When it enters, you can sacrifice a land or a lander, I guess including this. If you do, set your library for 2 basics, put them to the battlefield taps, then shuffle, and 3/3 flyer once you get to 7 or more counters. So it's a hero for folks that have played with that card. Very strange ramp spell. Can double splash, like it helps you get like a double pip splash, or you've got like 4 colors, 5 colors in your deck. Yeah, it's like you want to think this is like ramp spell first and foremost. I guess it is also just like, yeah, if you just like, I was thinking mostly about sacking a land to do this. But oh, sorry, I'm no, sorry.
I was gonna wait for you to stop. You said including this.
I know, yeah. We're late into the set review. We're really late into it, and I was thinking spacecraft and lander are the same thing. Sorry, lander tokens are what you're supposed to sacrifice. Never mind. Yeah. I was gonna say something. It doesn't make sense. yeah, we'll go from there. So why don't you say some words about this card? Because while I recalibrate.
Okay. I am less high on this than some other people, just because there's not a ton of ways to get a lander in on turns 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that like the body you get off of this is kind of small ball for what you're getting, right? Like it's just a 3/3 flyer for Station 7, but you really are doing the thing if you are able to sacrifice a lander token.
Yeah, like you go the blue-green 2-drop uncommon into this. Like that is crazy good.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a build-around synergy-ish card where the build-around is like you kind of want to be splashing, ramping, and also want to have cheap things that make lander tokens.
Yeah, or like the red-green signpost also wants landfall.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. Grades, what do we give?
C for me, C plus for you.
Yeah, I think it sounds about right. Mtstrider Eulogist is 2 and a green for a 3/3, and whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, draw a card. You don't want those to die, though. You want those to get in and attack and do good things. This is fairly vanilla.
Yeah, we've seen cards like this where it's like a lord-ish type of thing for other stuff, and they never really do as well as we hope they will. We both gave it a C minus.
Yeah. Next up is Seedchip Agrarian, 3 and a green for a 3/3. When it becomes tapped, you make a lander token. Landfall, you put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
So really nice if you can have spacecraft to trigger this right away.
Yeah.
Also with Gene Pollinator too.
Yeah, man, Gene. My boy Gene. Yeah, this thing, like, it's got a floor. Like, it's a 4-man 3/3 sometimes, but man, like, if you can enable this, this thing's just like a lander token each turn, it grows. Yeah, this card's got some potential.
Yeah, very snowbally, but with the downside of, again, kind of 4 mana, no protection, no ETB. So we both gave it a C plus.
Yep, seems good to me. Tapestry Warden is 3 and a green for a 3/4 artifact creature with vigilance. And it says each creature you control assigns damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And the same thing goes for stationing, putting counters on your space stations. They will add counters equal to their toughness. So in a sense,
only if the toughness is greater than the power.
Sorry, only if toughness is greater than power. Yeah, it's not one of those things where like oh crap, I'm making my board worse here. So yeah. It's a kind of standalone card in a set where there's not a lot of there's no other toughness matters things. So I don't know. Like some decks, you'll randomly be like, oh yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, if you play the red 1/3 mana dork into this, like on turn 3, you have a 3/3 and a 4/4 vigilance.
Yeah. That's cute.
There's some nice curve outs with this, but yeah, again, 4 mana, no protection, no ETB. We both gave it a C.
Next up, we've got Atmospheric Greenhouse, 3 and a green for a spacecraft. When it enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Then the spacecraft is a 5/4 flying trample that becomes that if you have 8 counters on it.
But it does kind of station itself, right, with those counters.
It helps a lot. Yeah. This one's like I'm almost like a little bit surprised they didn't make it a little bit harder to station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like the body's pretty good. I don't know. I think this one's pretty good.
You only really need 2 creatures in play for this to be like really strong.
Yeah, just imagine you have a 2/2 and a 3/3. That's like, fairly reasonable. You now have a 3/3 and a 4/4 that I guess you can't do it right away, but let's just say 2 3/3s or like a 1/1's lying around. Like you get to station it right away. Although sometimes you're just going to want to be like attack. Of course, there's some tension there. But no, I mean, in any case, I think that the numbers on this card seem right to me.
Yeah, I'm high on this. I gave it a B. You gave it a B minus.
Yeah, still in the B range. Okay, so this one's kind of interesting. A very familiar card if you played Final Fantasy. Eusocial Engineering. This is 3 green for an enchantment. Landfall, you make a colorless 2/2 colorless robot token. And it has warp for 1 and a green. So this is the Chocoo Racetrack But you can make it 2/2 a little bit earlier. You don't have to be like, all right, turn 5. Now I'm starting to pump out my my creatures here. It's still got that issue of, well, if you're warping it in and then playing a land, that's like a 3 mana play rather than, unless you have a 1-drop, right? You're kind of wasting a mana there. But I like this card. I was a fan of Chocoo Racetrack in the right deck. I think this card's going to be better in this set.
I agree. You're not making 3/2s, but there's a lot of play patterns that are really nice with this. Because if you start with the 3 mana 3/3 make a lander on turn 3, on turn 4 you can warp this, cast your land for turn, and crack the lander, and then you have 2 bodies, and then the next turn you already have 5 mana in play, so you can just cast it and play your land for turn.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
There's a lot of play patterns, and like the buyout, often the problem with these cards is they don't do anything until turn 5, and you can't find a spot to put it into play. But this basically has an adventure mode, 3 mana, make a 2/2.
Yeah.
So it's a really strong adventure to add to one of these types of cards. So I'm very into this. The stats on Chocoo Racetrack were quite bad, so I'm still not putting this super high up, but we both gave it a C.
Yeah. No, I think this card plays quite differently. That turn 4 thing you mentioned is really cool. Harmonious Mtstrider is 3 green for a star. It's got Ward 2, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. So yeah, I mean, just generally gonna be 5/5 when you play it. Maybe sometimes a little bit bigger. Threatens to get really large pretty quickly. Like if you have a lander token in play, you play a land, it's a 6/6, threatens to be a 7/7. As far as like vanilla-ish creatures go, it seems pretty good.
Do you remember that like Frost Giant or whatever from AFR, the 4/5 Ward 3 in blue?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
It ended up being like one of blue wasn't good in that set. Blue commons by a mile.
Yeah, that was a good blue common in that set.
It kind of reminds me of that. Like it's only got Ward 2, but it can be a lot bigger, and I think this card's actually pretty good.
Yeah, are we far apart on the grades here? What do we give it?
No, we both gave it a C+.
Okay.
Like it stations really well. I'm not talking up you. I'm talking up.
Oh yeah.
Generic.
The royal we. Yeah. The royal you. Yeah, no, I gotcha. Yeah, I agree with that though. Ward 2 solves a lot of problems as far as expensive big dummy goes.
Yep.
Pull Through the Weft is 3 green for a sorcery that I would have liked very much in the last set. Return up to 2 target non-land permanents from your graveyard to your hand, then return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Look pretty tricky to say you're going to get all full value off of this. Like, there's not a lot of mill. So like, if you're getting, any lands back, it's going to be in the, I don't know, it's just a weird card. It's a weird card to imagine getting full value on it.
Yeah, not a lot is even like understating it. Like we talked about this during the green-black archetype shell, but there's basically no mill. Like there's a couple of uncommons, and that's about the extent of it. And then a little bit of surveil here and there.
Yeah, there's like the 1 mana surveil make a lander. Sorry, that doesn't use surveil. That gains life. Yeah. No, you're totally right.
My guess is the average number of lands that this cast is like 0.5.
yeah, it might even be lower than that, right? Like, yeah. Okay, so let's not imagine the land part. You just like return 2 permanents. Like that's also not particularly good. We had Rydia's return, and that card was kind of extremely clunky. I think this card is not very good.
The set may be slow enough that this still being functionally a draw 2 is worth something. So we both gave it a not unplayable grade of D+.
Yeah. Lash Whip Predator is 4 green for a 5/7 reach. Already not too terrible, but it costs 2 less if the opponent has 3 or more creatures. So if you're on the draw, it's not crazy to play this on turn 4. What do we give this one? I think a pretty high grade.
You gave it a B-. I was slightly lower at C+.
Yeah. Glacier Godmaw. Cool name, cool art. Oops, sorry. We got a 5 green, 6/6 trample. When it enters, you make a lander token. In Landfall, whenever you play a land or whenever land enters, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance and haste until end of turn. That's a Landfall ability.
So this is good as a 7 or an 8 or a 9 drop. Like
Yes.
really good in all 3 spots.
Yeah, it's creatures. It counts itself too, so you can haste this thing out.
Yeah.
Whew. Wow. Yeah, this is gonna end a ton of games. We just talked about how much beef there is in green too. Yeah. What do we give it?
We both gave it a B.
Okay, and with that, we're get to say goodbye to the commons and uncommons. We are now done. Thoughts on everything we've seen today?
I guess green will summarize first.
Yeah,
so
good idea.
Is maybe my vote for second best color. I don't know if you'd agree with that. I really just like how good sized body it has, and bodies seem important when stationing on power. So I'm optimistic for green. It might kind of be like a Duskmourn situation where during the set review we called green and white being the best colors in that set, but they didn't necessarily play that well together.
Yeah.
I also feel kind of like green and black might be the 2 best colors, but don't necessarily blend that perfectly. So that might be something to look out for sealed, because sometimes the less performing archetype does better in sealed if it's got really deep colors at common and uncommon. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Yeah, I was like slightly worried about this set as a whole. One thing that you mentioned, Sam, with his podcast earlier today, Sam Pratt, and Sam mentioned that with the design process with this set, they actually had a bit of a snafu where they had to go back to the drawing board and like build from the ground up. There was like a mechanic that was just like too complex and too many problems that they originally had in the set, and that was like the groundwork for the entire set, and they were like, we're not going to do this. So they had a little bit less time to tweak things as they would for a normal set. And the last time that happened, I believe, was Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So, and that wasn't maybe the best limited set. But we'll see. I think today I don't get bad vibes necessarily. Wednesday is early access. So, join me for that on Twitch if you want to check that out. That's always the day I feel like I can kind of like get a good sense of that. I'll bring you a sense of that when we come back Thursday for rares and mythics. But I definitely think after talking through the cards, I'm more optimistic than I maybe was before. And yeah, we'll just have to see. Cool.
Yeah, last thing I'll mention, if any of you stuck around for this whole thing, slight apologies for the intermittent audio issues we had. We did try to make a fix before the call started, but it wasn't time. So hopefully it's going to be cleared up for the future, but hopefully you still enjoyed this content. I love doing it with you, Alex. Problems or not, even if you make me repeat all of my words, I'll still come back for the next one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully solve some of that in editing. So apologies. It wasn't as bad as the Final Fantasy one, but still a little blip here and there. I know that's a little bit annoying. So we are working on it. Next time we'll find a fix. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.